This is Vancouver, British Columbia, the epicenter of Canada's overdose epidemic and where drug addicts come to die.
I can buy my fentanyl right off my doctor.
Man, I've been smoking crack all day. It's not
No, I hear you.
It's the drug user.
We've gone so far as to provide drugs to people from a vending machine.
In January 2023, British Columbia became the first and only province in Canada to decriminalize small amounts of hard drugs.
All drugs are good and balanced. God made all drugs.
In an effort to destigmatize drug use, reduce criminal prosecution, and encourage drug users to seek out medical help.
I mean, these people are insane. They have no life to begin with. Oh, wow. And it's done in the open.
1 year into the experiment, though, BC drug overdose deaths reached record highs, with 7 people dying every day, prompting the government to recriminalize the use and possession of drugs in public in April 2024. But was Canada's decriminalization experiment a complete failure, or was it just missing a few other critical pieces in this puzzle of solving addiction? I pulled up to downtown East Hastings at night to see if people were still using drugs in public and what the solution to this epidemic might be. And with bongs and shiesties available on every corner store, I was curious what some of the business owners in East Hastings thought about the situation. All right, now I want to welcome you to Paraphernalia Bazaar. We got shiesties, we got bongs, we got it all. Infinite drug paraphernalia to use drugs. Do a lot of people come in here and buy a bong for like meth, fentanyl, that sort of thing?
Most probably.
Most probably. How is it safe out here as a business owner and employee?
Not that much safe,
Okay.
but the thing is, if you are good to these people, they are good to you as well.
Yo, how you doing? Do you get boosted often?
Yes.
Did you have to put that door in so people stole less?
Yes, the boss put that in.
Okay.
For safety.
And is that a new phenomenon, or is
Yes,
that
that's new.
new? When?
Oh, past couple years.
Okay. Do a lot of drug users come in here, buy a bong, smoke some fentanyl in it?
I have no idea.
Okay, heard. Do we got gangsters coming in here buying shiesties? And look at this. We're gonna expose them. We got thief, 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 thief. Question for you guys. Do you guys get boosted from people often?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes? Do you see it end up right on the streets afterwards?
No, but they can run, that's what happens.
Okay. Or do the police do anything right now?
They try to help, but
Yeah.
always a little bit late, but they
Okay.
try to help us too, yeah.
Is it like a daily occurrence, would you say?
Once in a while, for sure,
Yeah.
but it all depends on their activities.
Sure.
So much in drugs, they don't know what they do, that's what happens.
Has it gotten better or worse last 4 or 5 years?
It's getting worse now.
Once again, it is quite easy to get some drug paraphernalia. And of course, you got the food desert items right here. You got 3 cereal boxes for $15. Knives, only $25. All hats, only $25. Spend $50 on a bong and torch, get free butane, 3 butane for only $10. How is it running a shop out here? Is it getting a little shiesty sometimes or no?
It is.
It can get
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Are these here to prevent like a robbery or what?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you get boosted from often?
Yeah.
Yeah. This place is looking pretty dilapidated right now. More bongs, more bongs. Bongs, 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 bongs. It's easier to get a bong out here than it is a monster. And not to mention needles, foil, and anything else you might need to support your crippling drug addiction. It's almost like nonprofits and NGOs are incentivized to help keep these people addicted to drugs rather than guiding them towards rehabilitation and sobriety.
Man, I've been smoking crack all day.
Oh,
It's not
No, I hear you.
drugs, it's the drug user.
My question though is reduce the harm, keep that person alive. But if there's no emphasis on helping that person detox, get into rehab at some point, if you can get acutely poisoned much faster with something like this, then maybe alcohol is my argument. Government's not going out handing out vodka shots, right?
My
to
generation
alcoholics.
didn't face these problems. I'm
Fentanyl?
56 years old, yeah.
Fentanyl's crazy.
It is. I don't want to go off the deep end on
Yeah.
conspiracy theories.
Please do.
The government controls the drug trade and always has. You go back to the East India Trading Company and the Opium Wars. You know, what we did to India and China back in the day,
Yeah,
what the
it's terrible.
British Empire did. Why would they ever give up the most valuable commodity on the planet?
Do you think this is the reverse of the opium war?
It's interesting to consider China as the #1 supplier of fentanyl. I don't know that that's true, though. It's good propaganda. So let's make people like me the bad guy. Let's make people like them the bad guy. Let's make the unwanted middle children the bad guy. Yeah, let's discriminate against them. Junkies, homeless.
Like addicts. Yeah.
They'd rather complain about the shit in the f***ing alley than give us a porta potty.
I get your point, right? Why discriminate these people? Why stigmatize these people? But it seems questionable to not stigmatize the drug use, right? Why not stigmatize the activity that's causing people to die, you know?
Well, we're supporting the law enforcement agendas by electing these governments and allowing these governments to pursue law enforcement agendas that criminalize drugs. And while doing so, we've created a black market economy that enables terrorists.
What do we have right here? Is this a little boosted market here? No judgment, just curious?
No, stuff that I own
You're selling your
on my
goods.
travels.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because I had to come up with some money to help somebody.
she's in big trouble, and I've come up with now $65,
Okay.
and she needs 70.
She's paying off debts, I assume?
You betcha.
How common is that? Because I hear Welfare Wednesday, that's when you get checked in.
Like if you get debts and welfare day, you don't get the pay.
Yeah.
They give you some time, right? And if you pay 1/3 of it or something like she is, I'm helping her. She's going to get an extension of time, and she can go sell her ass or whatever, to get some.
Selling her body?
Yeah, selling her body or whatever. Yeah, I told her I'd give it till 8 o'clock.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to make it 70. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
How are the streets these days? What's going on?
A lot of gang running it.
That's what we hear. A lot of Montreal East Coast gangs have come in.
I don't know about that. There's ones that's been here for all along, so.
So local gangs is what you're seeing?
That's what I see.
Is it safe out here?
As long as you don't have big debts that you haven't skipped on.
How long have you lived out in the streets, if I may ask?
I live in...
Oh, you live SRO?
Yeah.
How is the SRO? We've heard a lot of different thoughts.
I was in a really crappy one for like 16 years. I hated it. It was very unhealthy, unclean. I'm in a cleaner one now, but it's got other crap. The social issues are a little more of an issue.
The safe injection side doesn't do nothing. They say we want to save these people.
Like harm reduction?
Harm reduction and save their life. They have no life to begin with. I mean, these people are insane.
So you think the government's investing in people who are too far gone? Is that kind of what you're saying?
A recovery program.
Some more emphasis on detox, rehab, treatment?
They have to invest on this,
Okay.
and get rid of the safe injection site, or whatever you call it.
Speaking of which, as we speak, this young man is pulling out the torch, and he is going to light some meth, fentanyl, heroin maybe.
Oh, wow. And it's done in the open, but it's exactly legal in a way,
Yeah, apparently it's been recriminalized though.
Oh, it's all right? But they still do.
Exactly.
And
just
they still
walking by, they don't do anything. So I'm asking folks their thoughts on if the sort of harm reduction is helping or hurting.
It's kind of enabling in a way, but at the same time, it is. It could be run differently. You could put it that way. It would help if it was done properly.
You said us. Do you use anything?
Fentanyl and a little bit of meth here and there. Smoke weed every day though.
How many times have you died?
That's a hard question, man.
That's a crazy question, but every time I ask it to fentanyl user, they answer
Thousands,
2, 3.
man.
Thousands?
Yeah, not just from dope, from everything in my life, man.
Yeah, what can be done to fix all this? Do you think if someone offered you like, yo, you want to get in detox right now, you take them up on it?
No, because I don't think that works, man. You have to be ready. It's your decision. You can't help anybody who doesn't want to help themselves, right?
Do you think the housing first approach works? Like, get in the house. Have you seen a lot of people overdose in those houses and the SROs they've been given?
I live in the Molson down on Hastings and Main, right in the center of it all, and we've had a few. I mean, in the last 2 years, it's going to happen anywhere the drugs are, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the drug problem is really bad. I think there's always been somewhat of a problem, but since 2016, it's become an epidemic, and it doesn't seem to be getting much better. Hopefully it will.
Do you think the harm reduction has helped people get off the drugs out here, or has it kind of worsened the situation?
I don't know, man. 6 to 1, half in the other, right? I'm coming from a city where the harm reduction is few and far between, and that doesn't help the scene either, right? So it's like is there overabundance? Maybe, but when it comes to like quick access is quick access, right? The user's going to use, right? No one's getting clean or safe unless they want to, right?
Do you know many people who use safe injection sites out here? Are those pretty good? Or?
I've worked that one, yeah.
Yeah?
Actually,
How was that experience?
That's good. I find those to be very helpful, especially for the type of drugs that get used down here. Heavy sedative type drugs. To have a safe injection site's huge for females, I would imagine.
So is this a boosted little setup we have here?
Absolutely not. This is all my personal stuff. I used to do that until it became hard on my heart.
What are your thoughts on the harm reduction out here? Is that working or is it not working?
It's a good thing, actually. I couldn't imagine living sharing needles and getting by that way. It saves lives.
How long you been out here in East Hastings?
My whole life. I was born in New West. This is where I come to sin and
Disneyland of drugs out here, yeah?
Yeah.
Has it always been that way since you've been here?
To different degrees.
Yeah.
15 years ago, it was like China White.
Heard?
And heroin, and now it's all fentanyl. It's really, I don't think it's healthy for you.
Yeah.
It's really bad for you.
Are you seeing xylazine and trank out here too?
Yeah, and I'm crippled. I can barely walk now because of that xylazine.
Does your back hurt?
Oh, yeah.
Does not look comfortable.
For me to go 2 or 3 blocks, it takes an hour. It's not fun.
Did you know that this would be the side effect, the back bending? Like if there's any kid out there who's trying fentanyl, would you recommend they try xylazine or trank?
No, never.
How many times have you died out here?
I've got a weird thing. I'm really immune to drugs.
Okay.
I don't overdose. I've been doing it for 30 years.
What's the biggest drug of choice out here right now? Fentanyl?
Probably fentanyl and coke and speed. And there's crackheads everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my last question is, have you had any friends or family die out here you've seen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The building I live in, every week somebody's bumping off.
Are you in an SRO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hell. It's I got a drug dealer and a hooker girlfriend, and I live in between the two of them.
If you wanted to get sober in an SRO, would it be close to impossible, you think?
Yeah.
Is it just because you're close to so many active drug users and drug dealers?
Exactly, yeah. Down here, you can't get it that way, your doctor will give you the drugs. I can buy my fentanyl right off my doctor.
More people out here using drugs since like 2016, or?
Yeah, a lot less people out here using drugs because a lot of people have died with the fentanyl crisis and all that has gone on. You can OD and die from taking a dragon, where with heroin, that would hardly ever put you down.
By dragon, you mean?
When you smoke like a little bit on tinfoil.
I went to right over there, they gave me some foil and some needles.
Oh yeah. That's like, it's called harm reduction.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's helping the situation or helping more people die eventually?
I don't know. That's the argument, right? It can be looked at either way, and people are dying here. It's escalating, and that's kind of what the dark side of what's going on here the past couple of years is what's happening. And I don't believe that the police are purposely trying to go out and kill people, but they're looking the other way while people are dying and allowing it to happen.
But let me tell you, the thing that people don't know about this area, it's really important my face isn't shown because there's lots of extortion. The women are actually the people that run this street, and they're all very mentally ill and they're very erratic, and you don't know if you're just going to get clipped off the side of the head when you're just sitting there minding your own business. I got the beaten out of me. It was a couple days before Welfare Day. It was around 8 p.m. I was walking through that tunnel thing over there, and she just beat the living out of me, like my eyes.
For no reason.
She wanted my bag, and she's been harassing me for months and months because she's a lesbian. I don't know what her deal was. And I was black and covered in blood, and then the cops were sitting right there, and I was running to them, yelling, please help, covered in blood. It stung so bad because the blood and the tears, it really hurts. And the cop was like, well, we're here on something else. I'm like, well, I don't have a phone. I'm broke. Welfare won't pay me for the past 3 months. It's very dangerous. You shoplift and you try to not hurt people as much as you can, right?
As I walk through alleys full of limp corpses.
How y'all doing? Hi.
Little pop-up shops full of stolen goods.
We got a little Chinatown market right here. We got some wares. Take a look at the wares.
And the occasional rat.
Yo, double rat. Damn, you know you're in it when you got rats.
You have to wonder how any of this is really compassion. Have we, as a society, just given up on these people and decided that giving them the tools they need to overdose until they finally die is the best option available?
Before I go deeper into East Hastings, in this era of media bias and corruption, it's tough to know what's fake news and what's real news.
But luckily, Straight Arrow News delivers fact-based reporting straight down the center.
Using their Media Mist tool, you can stay up to date on news that the mainstream news outlets don't cover on both the right and the left, like Tucker Carlson going back to Russia to interview Foreign Minister Lavrov on the left, and Michigan GOP lawmakers saying gay marriage should be illegal again on the right side, helping you get the full picture of what's going on in this world while avoiding media bias. As I edited this video, I learned that the Georgian opposition leader has been arrested after 6 days straight of protesting, and that Romania's election has been called off after accusations of Russian election interference. And if you want to learn more about a story, their media landscape tool displays the news outlets covering the story and groups them according to their bias. And if you want to find the original coverage from the news outlets that covered it, you can just click the outlet's icon and it'll take you directly to the coverage. If you want to stay informed, navigate misinformation, and avoid media bias, go to san.com/Tyler Oliveira for free. That's san.com/Tyler Oliveira. Thanks, Straight Arrow News. Back to the streets. Question for you, boss. You lighting the fent? Fent? Yeah, all right. All right, lighting a little fent to end the night out here. Hopefully not permanently. What are you smoking at?
That's a fent.
What is it, fent?
As anyone with an IQ over 80 that's not in denial can realize that the infinite number of bongs available for sale on nearly every corner of East Hastings are being used for mostly anything but weed or tobacco, you understand that East Hastings is a black hole that gives drug addicts everything they need to destroy themselves. And it was clear that the recriminalization of drug use and possession in public did not seem to observably reduce any of it.
All right, boss, who am I here with?
How's that? I'm Derek.
How long you been out here?
We've been here in Granville 15, 16 years, something like that.
Has it gotten better or worse since you first got here?
Way worse.
Way worse, kid.
How so, boss?
People people think it's cool. They steal from their friends, you know. It's pretty bad down here, man.
Yeah. Do you think it's mostly fentanyl that's caused a lot of problems out here?
I really do, honestly. Honestly.
Not only fentanyl, a lot of lazy parenting too. Spank your kids More often, put them online. You know, it is what it is.
So I see these bongs everywhere too. Are most people buying the bongs and using it to smoke like fentanyl, heroin, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on the harm reduction out here? Is it helping or hurting folks?
50-50. I think you're enabling people at the same time. You're hurting people at the same time, I think, right?
They save a lot of lives, but you know, they hurt a lot of lives too, right?
What's up? Oh, we're just interviewing folks out here. Bad news?
Yeah.
Like right here or just in general?
In general.
Okay. We're just making sure everyone's cool with it before we roll.
It's your choice, bro.
What do you mean? We're peace-loving guys.
Me too, bro.
Okay, all right, we're chilling though. We're trying to talk about harm reduction and if it's benefiting or hurting folks out here. But I think low-key he's gonna kill us maybe if we keep goofing around here.
No.
Is he chill?
Yeah, he won't do that. He can't do that because I won't let him.
I look across the street, I see Insight right here, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think?
It's a great thing. Ever since it's been up, many lives have been saved. I haven't heard of anybody ever OD and pass away in there yet.
Do you think it enables any drug use, or is it mostly all good and helps keep people safe when they do OD?
I think it's a bit of both. It is enabling in some way. It does, right? I came down here when I was 19, and I remember I used to visit my mom down here, seeing all the parties happen and everything, and I saw the parties my mom had and that, and as soon as I was 19, I was only supposed to go to the dentist here. My appointment was in the afternoon. I got here in the morning, and I thought I'd go meet my mom's friends, and I've been here ever since I was 19 and never left. My dad passed away down here. He used to drink they tried doing harm reduction for alcohol as well, you know? So seriously, it has saved lives. I wish there was a lot more that people would understand, you know? And
What do you think is misunderstood right now?
that it's saving lives.
Is it too easy to get drugs out here right now, or is it you're going to get them somehow, might as well make it easy and make it safe? What do you think?
It's easy and it's not easy. Down here for 30 years, you know, you've done here 30 years, you earn your respect down here. Back in the day, then people never used to steal off each other down here. Anybody that did that, they were kicked off the block then, but now it's just crazy. But I really want to get clean myself and be down here because I went to school to be addiction counseling. I had 2 exams and 2 rewrites, and I would have my diploma. I relapsed. That was when my mom passed away, and I want to get clean and be down here and help other people.
Have you asked for a detox?
Not yet.
You're not ready yet?
I'm pretty close to being.
Yeah.
I used to be standing straight. I'm not anymore. I'm leaned over now.
Yeah. Does that do the trank? Yeah.
And I want to, you know, my boyfriend, we want to get married, and then I want to walk down that aisle standing straight, you know?
I mean, I hope you get sober one day if that's what you want, you know? I think I don't want to see you die. You don't want to die out here.
I want to help people.
Yeah. I think your story can inspire a lot of people too.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I believe in you.
I'm glad we saw you today. You know what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy world, right?
And it inspired me to,
Yeah.
inspired me to
So you're gonna do it? Yeah, I want you to get clean. I want you to get sober. I don't want you to die. And I just met you, but you seem like a sweetheart. You have a safe night, okay? That's okay. All right.
While the harm reduction is theoretically here to help prevent overdoses, save lives, and reduce the spread of disease, I can't help but wonder if in Vancouver's attempt to copy the Portuguese model of handling drug addiction, that they've forgotten that harm reduction is a means to an end. One of many tools used in an incentive-based approach to help encourage drug addicts to reintegrate into society, get a job, treating their addiction as a health crisis rather than criminal activity. If only there was a highly qualified doctor who has studied this issue for the last 20 years that might have a practical solution to treating Canada's drug epidemic.
I want you to tell me about the research you were conducting, how it eventually was ordered to be destroyed, and what you found throughout that research.
That first mentor that I mentioned, Bruce Alexander, people who know addiction will likely link his name with some studies that were known as the Rat Park experiments.
Okay.
What Bruce showed in that work, and it had a big influence on me, was that rats living in isolation, given a choice between morphine and chow, tended to consume quite a bit of morphine. But if you took those same rats, even after they became dependent on morphine in isolation, and you moved them into a park-like setting where they're living with other rats and they've got lots of stuff to do, they will switch their preference and instead orient to chow. It's like a natural intervention. Part of what inspired this was when Vietnam veterans had been identified in the 70s as addicted to heroin. The nutshell story is that they returned, and very few of them had ongoing problems with heroin, and very few of them who made that change access any form of treatment. Again, it was a result of the environment. And even if they have access to morphine, you expose them literally to better things to do. That's an involuntary type of intervention.
Okay.
What about intervening voluntarily? Could we simply go up to people on the street and say, hey, you're clearly struggling with a bunch of things. I've got some things to offer you. Does any of it sound good? One of the studies that we did along these lines involved offering people choices of housing. Housing in intact buildings where the sort of the social mix was already established. It was people paying rent, going about their lives. And our responsibility was to make sure that our clients who moved in were sufficiently supported so that they would be successful.
How did that play out?
People with clinical backgrounds were some of the most pessimistic, that this is not going to work, people are not going to change, landlords aren't going to rent to you, if they do they're going to regret it. Again, this is like from the people who are supposed to be helping. But we went ahead and did it, and it was successful. We randomly assigned people who had been homeless, it turned out, for about 10 years. We randomly assigned people to receive usual care, which here in BC costs about $55,000 per person per year. Shelters, street outreach support, those kinds of things. Then we randomly assign people to the intervention I described, where they're given choices and responsibilities and support. A third condition was people being housed all together. We had 107 people all living together in the same building with a team on site.
That's kind of like the SROs, right?
It's SROs on steroids, though. What if we were to do as we did, shift the incentives, shift the things on the positive side of the ledger that would be incentives for change? So yes, you can move into this apartment, but if you're going to move into this, you can't be having dealers and other people over to the apartment to use drugs, because that's going to get you in trouble with your neighbors. Over time, they start to think about, well, gosh, returning to work. One of the things that struck me as most poignant was when people would think about reconnecting with their kids. And those kinds of thoughts about my potential future self are closely related to people's motivation for changing their use of drugs. If people are arrested, brought before a judge, and are not presented with choices, but are instead say, look, you can either go to jail, or you can go through this intensive treatment program. It's going to take about a year, and you must remain drug-free throughout. They really need to be separated from drug using and the drug scene urgently and immediately in order to have a good chance of survival.
What did the government do in response to your research, which seems like a solution to a lot of these problems?
This research built up over 20 years. Several investigators, a lot of PhD trainees developed their research and adding to this pool of data. And we got to the point of drawing it all together and saying we put together a proposal to begin scaling up effective supports for people in multiple regions of BC and evaluating what we were doing. And we presented that to the government. And what I didn't know when I made this recommendation, this presentation, is that the government had already committed financially to a massive expansion of housing people all together and providing them with drugs. Because I'm an honest person and I thought I was speaking to people with integrity. I said one of the things we're going to be able to do with this updated information is evaluate some of the public services that have been operating through the COVID years, during which we had expanded this model of congregating people together. 1 week after I made this presentation to deputy ministers, we received a letter from the government ordering us to immediately destroy all of the data and sanitize hard drives. And
So 20 years of work down the drain.
I mean, massive data holdings covering like about 250,000 people.
That would have effectively helped anyone in this situation currently.
Here in BC, our government committed very heavily to a frontier in the use of pharmaceuticals. And this is taking the model of prescribing drugs and decoupling it from any kind of a long-term program or plan that's designed to help people socially reintegrate. We've gone so far as to provide drugs to people from a vending machine type of device right here.
I saw that.
And the government wrote about this as the beginning of a kind of a global revolution. So far, the results are, as predicted, terrible. If all you do is provide someone who's homeless, struggling psychologically, unemployed, estranged painfully from their families with an alternative source of medication, we call that treatment. It's never going to achieve any kind of meaningful change. The Portuguese were already all on top of this, and because they built out the system prior to enacting their decriminalization step, they were able to engage people through dissuasion commissions in robust forms of support that got them out of the settings where they were living in strife and at risk. Because of how they went about it, they did not need to introduce a single drug consumption site. If what you're chiefly concerned about is reducing the transmission of diseases, then a consumption site will help achieve that. But that's pretty much all it's going to achieve.
And here's what they look like inside.
Hi, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'll get in line.
Yep. Do you want to come up with you guys?
I don't know if I feel fully comfortable, but
Have you been here before?
no.
Okay, what's your handle? What do you call yourself?
Tyler.
Tyler,
Yeah.
come on in, Tyler.
Okay.
Okay, you
All
can
right.
come take a booth. This is your first time.
Okay.
We do not let people do this, okay?
Okay.
Because you're not allowed to look at people who are privately doing something. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and then you gotta go.
Okay.
That's what you get.
Okay.
I
thought
Unless he wants to take a picture. No, we just wanted to have a look.
Okay.
So we don't do that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But you're welcome to stay and take a table if you want. We have a table open if you feel comfortable.
All right. Okay.
Come on
Thank you.
up.
Okay.
I think harm reduction is an incredibly powerful and essential component of how we structure our system, how we engage people. Recognize that harm reduction as a bottom-up, interpersonal way of helping people is an essential practice, but it's got to lead to the ultimate goal of wellness. It's become linked with crazy stuff like drug use. It's not an addiction.
Sure.
We need to defend people's bodily autonomy.
Sure.
These
Rather than a means to an end, it became the end in and of itself, seemingly.
It became an end in itself,
Okay.
and people became protective of that. Then you get this kind of opportunity for predation.
Okay.
So this is economic predation.
Tell me about some of these bad actors.
But they're only bad actors if you have a critical view of capitalism.
In what sense do you say that?
Well, for instance, if you and I are running a global pharmaceutical company and we look around, the US and other countries, and we see that there are these mandatory disclosure laws, Sunshine Act and things like that, about, if we were to pay doctors to do things. But if we look up in Canada, we don't have laws like that.
Okay.
It's voluntary. When we have people who are currently in crisis, as we do now, we need to fast track everything that we know we can do to enable social reintegration and connecting people with lives that inherently matter to them, are inherently valuable. We're already committed to a model that we know is not performing well. It's not only the scientific evidence, it's the evidence in our communities.
Sure. Go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
It's clearly not working, right? Let's have the courage to admit that we've made some mistakes, and let's have the courage to shift our direction.